"Don't talk," those were the only words he managed to whisper, his voice trembling, his face shadowed by exhaustion and fear. The police officer froze, hand tightening on the grip of his flashlight, not knowing what to expect. But what happened next would shock everyone in that quiet, forgotten alley. It had all begun hours earlier, on a freezing night in the city. James, a man who once had dreams, now walked the streets with nothing but an old backpack and his daughter, Lily, bundled in his worn coat. Once, he had been a husband, a provider, a man with a steady job. But tragedy had ripped everything away, his wife lost in a sudden illness, his job gone when he missed too many shifts to care for her in her final days. Bills piled up, the apartment was taken, and all that remained was his promise to keep Lily safe. He wasn't homeless by choice, he was homeless by circumstance. On that bitter night, James had been searching for a safe corner to let his daughter sleep. He found an alley that seemed quiet, tucked Lily against him, and tried to ignore the ache in his stomach. She whispered, "Daddy, are we safe here?" He kissed her forehead, saying, "Always, baby. Always." But deep down, he knew danger lurked in shadows. Not far away, Officer Daniel was patrolling the streets. Daniel was known for his empathy, he treated the homeless not as criminals but as people. That night, he noticed the small figure huddled against the wall and walked closer. His first instinct was to check if they needed help, but the second James saw the officer, he raised his hand in warning. His voice cracked, urgent and low, "Don't talk." Confused, Daniel stopped, scanning the scene. James's eyes weren't on him, they darted to the dark end of the alley. There, three men moved slowly, their steps deliberate, their whispers sharp. They hadn't seen Daniel yet. James, despite his own struggles, had noticed them circling like predators. They weren't after him. They were after anyone vulnerable enough to be prey. Lily stirred, sensing tension. James tightened his grip, whispering softly, "Close your eyes, baby girl. Daddy's here." He looked back at Daniel, desperation in his eyes. He wasn't warning the officer for himself, he was warning him about the danger behind. That simple act, in the middle of his own misery, showed who James really was, a protector. Daniel slowly shifted his stance, hand near his radio. But before he could call for backup, the men lunged. In an instant, chaos erupted. James, exhausted and hungry, still leapt to shield his daughter, his body absorbing the first blow. Daniel moved fast, pulling his baton, shouting commands. One attacker swung a knife. Adrenaline surged. For a moment it was survival, no uniforms, no poverty, no differences, just two men standing against the darkness. The fight was brutal. James took hits that would have dropped any other man, fueled only by the need to keep Lily safe. Daniel managed to disarm one of the men, but another lunged at him. At that moment, James tackled the attacker, his strength surprising even himself. Together, they brought the men down until sirens wailed in the distance and backup arrived. When it was over, Daniel turned to James. He expected him to collapse, but instead James crouched beside Lily, brushing her hair from her face, whispering, "It's okay now." The tenderness, even in his battered state, broke something in Daniel's heart. Here was a man who had nothing, no roof, no food, no certainty for tomorrow, yet he gave everything he had to protect his daughter and a stranger. The other officers surrounded them, confused. Why would a homeless man risk his life like that? Daniel didn't let them question it. He spoke firmly, "This man saved my life tonight. He's not a suspect, he's a hero." News of the alley attack spread quickly. People were shocked when they learned the truth, a homeless father had helped protect a police officer and his city. But what shocked them more was what came afterward. Daniel didn't just thank James and walk away. He couldn't. He saw something in him, strength, dignity, and a love for his daughter that refused to be broken. Over the following days, Daniel helped James and Lily find a shelter. But he didn't stop there. He visited them, made calls, and eventually connected James to a program that provided work opportunities for single parents struggling with homelessness. James, who had once been dismissed as just another man on the streets, was given a chance to rebuild. Slowly, he regained his footing. He found steady work, saved enough to rent a small apartment, and Lily finally had a warm bed to sleep in at night. Months later, Daniel and James stood side by side at a community event, where James was honored for his bravery. Lily, dressed in a little yellow dress, clung to her father's hand, her eyes sparkling with pride. She told Daniel softly, "My daddy's a hero, isn't he?" Daniel smiled and replied, "He always was." The truth is, sometimes heroes don't wear uniforms or badges. Sometimes, they're fathers sleeping on sidewalks, carrying the weight of the world yet still finding the strength to stand against the darkness. James's story reminded everyone that humanity isn't defined by what we own, but by how we love and protect others, even strangers. And to you, watching this right now, remember this: life can change in an instant. One act of courage, one act of kindness, can ripple further than you'll ever know. If James could rise from his lowest point to inspire a city, then so can you. Never underestimate your strength, and never forget, someone out there needs your light.